Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining our second session today for the Qual-at-Scale Showcase, last showcase of 2023. Before we get started, just a reminder that you can put any of your questions in that Q&A chat box, and we'll get to as many of those as we can at the end of the session. So with that, I'll go ahead and hand it over to you, Aneesh.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Garrett. And good afternoon, everyone. My name is Anish. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Knit, and thank you so much for joining us today on our session on utilizing the power of voice-to-consumer video and AI contextual analysis for Quickturn Qual-at-Scale. For those of you hearing about Knit for the first time, think about us as your AI research assistant. We've built this AI native platform that combines the power of quantitative data, video data, and artificial intelligence to help some of the world's best and biggest brands get a quicker and more holistic understanding to their target audience. So today's entire event is all about Qual-at-Scale. And what we'll start off with is just talking a little bit more about why do we use Qual as researchers. There's several different reasons for it, but it really all boils down to getting a deeper, richer understanding of our consumers. But historically, there's always been a trade-off with Qual, and two that we're really going to talk about today. The first is this trade-off between depth and speed. With Qual, you can go really deep with your customers and consumers, but it takes a long time, weeks, if not months. Or you could run research really quickly, but keep it to more surface level insights. The other trade-off is around scale and speed. With Qual, it's really hard to talk to a lot of consumers in a really short amount of time. But what if there was a world where you could combine depth, scale, and speed? The depth to go deep with your customers to get those richer insights, the scale to give you the confidence in those insights, and the speed so that you and your business can get actionable answers in a couple of days, not weeks or months. That's the question we were asking ourselves when we were building Knit. And that's really what we're doing here with Knit today. With Knit, we're helping brands unlock all three of these. We help you go deep with your customers through this combination of quantitative and voice of consumer video insights, and help you unlock scale and speed through our AI contextual analysis. So over the course of this presentation, we'll actually walk through how people have been using our platform to unlock that Qual-at-Scale. And as we do that, I just want to help kind of define some of these terms that we'll be using over the next couple minutes, starting with voice of consumer video insights. So voice of consumer video insights, when we talk about VoC video insights, we're referencing kind of asynchronous video responses. Think about like 30 to 90-second long video responses to your open-ended questions. When we talk about AI contextual analysis, we're talking about this AI-powered analysis that we've built that looks at the underlying intent, not only what's being talked about in the business and research objectives of the study, but also in the question you're asking, as well as the underlying intent of the respondent's response. And on our platform, our partners run research, all different types of research, but today we'll really be focusing in on two in particular: innovation and concept and creative testing. So with that, if at any point in time today, we're just going to be focused on some of the core aspects of the platform and how it unlocks Qual-at-Scale. But if you're ever interested in learning more about Knit, feel free to go to our website. We would love to share a demo of the platform with you and dive a bit deeper. So with that, we'll go ahead and dive into today's topic, which is Qual-at-Scale, and how we've been using Qual-at-Scale around innovation and creative testing. So at Knit, what we've done is we always love to have a little bit of fun and do some internal research. One of the research studies we've done recently, an internal project, was designing kind of the future shoe for basketball. So today you'll see how our team used our own platform to unlock Qual-at-Scale to design the future basketball shoe for consumers here. So we started off with a study here to really dig deeper into uncovering and analyzing some trends, gaps, and consumer preferences within the basketball footwear category. We tapped into our panel of about 6 million consumers to gather data for this project, but our partners can also layer NIT on top of their own existing internal panels or external panels. For this study, we looked at consumers between the ages of 18 and 40, mirrored the US Census, and made sure that they had purchased athletic footwear in the last 2 years. And we talked to about 390 people in this study and had 114 of them share feedback through these Qual open-ended video responses. In total, they shared answers. They answered about 3 of these open-ended video response questions. So we had about 300 plus videos that we collected on the platform. And this entire project took about 4 days from end to end. A day to design the study and program it, 3 days to field the study, and several hours to actually analyze the data. But compared to traditional research, which can take weeks or months, it was an incredibly quick turnaround. So let's go ahead and dive through how our team actually used our platform to analyze some of this data, so you can see how we were able to unlock Qual-at-Scale to drive some of these insights. To start off, one of the great things about NIT was the ability for us to combine both quantitative and qualitative data in one study. So we started off analyzing the quantitative data, and we actually asked 36 quantitative questions here. And in general, our platform can support over 100 plus question variety types. Once we had a good sense of some of the key trends and insights coming from the quantitative data, we wanted to double tap into some of the qualitative data, in this case, the VoC videos. We collected over 300 voice of consumer videos here, which represents over 8.5 hours of video data. And the great thing about these voice of consumer videos are you get a lot of context. You can see this is a lot more data than you could get through an open-end text. And you're able to, at this scale, actually set different quotas. So you can make sure you have great representation and diversity with the sample that you're getting, answering these qualitative questions. Now, this is a lot of data to handle. And that's really where our AI comes in handy to help us analyze this Qual-at-Scale to pull out the most pertinent insights to drive our business objectives. So we started off by using our summary analysis, which gives us that kind of 30,000 foot overview of what are some of those key themes and trends and insights coming out of this data set. Specifically here, we're looking around answers to the question around of the basketball footwear you own, what aspects do you find most appealing and why? And the summary tool really gives us that kind of 30,000 foot overview, highlighting some of the key themes and insights coming from the data set. For example, comfort was a big one for respondents in this survey. They talked a lot about features like cushioning, breathability, supportive ankle design. Style was another one that came up a lot, especially around the design and colors of the shoes and the ability to match that style with their different outfits and style preferences. And a great part about this is being able to get that clarity and transparency in where these insights are coming from. So anytime we had a question around, how many people mentioned this theme and which videos specifically were mentioning these themes, you could easily just click into the green boxes here. The number represents the frequency of those themes. And when you click into the boxes, you can see the specific videos that it was referencing. So it gave us a lot of that transparency and clarity into exactly where the data is coming from. Now, once we had this summary on what was being said, we wanted to double tap into this and go a layer deeper. That's where our contextual analysis model really played a big role. And it allowed us to go a little bit deeper into these theme trees. So you can see here all the key themes that the AI identified. When we double clicked into some of these themes, we can see the sub themes here. So for example, 104 mentions of the theme comfort and fit. And within that, there are mentions of comfort level, breathability, ankle stability, with the frequency of those themes mentioned on the right. And then when you click into one of those sub themes, again, you can see all the specific videos and where in the videos it's pulling that insight from. So this gives our research team puts us in the driver's seat here. We at NIT, we don't believe that AI will be able to do exactly what a researcher does. So we really want to make sure that there's a lot of customization and the ability to tweak this to our liking. One of the great aspects of this, if you've noticed that the AI is really coding this like a human would, grouping it into the sub-themes and the themes that, a researcher would, or how a researcher would think about it. And a big part of that is the ability for the AI to take that underlying context. A great example of that is the second video, where you can see that it's been tagged as ankle stability, but there's no mentions of the word ankle or stability. It's really looking at that underlying context of what the respondent is saying and able to deduce that this respondent is referencing ankle stability, even without mentioning it. Now, once our team was able to identify some of these key insights and themes that were really exciting for us, we wanted to really bring some of these themes and insights to life as we handed over some of this data to our design team. So from there, we were able to take the themes that stood out to us the most. Let's say comfort and fit was one that we wanted to double down on. Identify the videos we wanted to share and add them to our show reel feature. Our show reel feature is kind of a sizzle reel editor. It allows you to really easily develop these show reels or sizzle reels by simply dragging and dropping those videos in the order you want to show them, highlighting the portions of the transcripts that you want to include, and then creating a more polished version of that through background music, adjusting the audio, adding theme slides, and so on and so forth. So it allows us to really bring some of that data to life, especially when we're handing it off to a creative team like our design team. Now, from there, we handed off that data as well as some of the quantitative data to our design team to start generating some different concepts for us to test. And just for a little bit of a warning, our design team got really creative with this. So they came up with a bunch of different futuristic type of concepts for basketball shoes. Here are just a few of them that we were testing. And we tested it against the same audience. So again, mirroring the US Census, people that had purchased athletic footwear within the last 2 years. This time, though, we focused more on the qualitative analysis or the qualitative data here, because we really wanted to understand, what performed the best, but also why. So we spoke to a smaller sample, about 129 people. And of that sample, we had every single person share video feedback. So we got about 300 plus or close to 400 videos across the data set. Similar to the first study, it was a really quick turnaround time, about 3 days. And here's kind of how our team went about analyzing that qual at the scale that we gathered it at. So the first thing we did is we dove into some of the quantitative data. In this case, we really wanted to look at that hard data showing which concept performed the best. Turns out that concept number 8, from a quantitative standpoint, was the best performing. From there, we wanted to layer on some of the qualitative themes coming out of that insight to understand why people like concept 8, as well as what they disliked about this concept. And we did this for some of the top performing concepts to really dive deep into that. For the sake of time today, we'll just walk through how we did that for concept 8. So we went through those 300 plus voice of consumer videos, again, almost 4.5 hours worth of video data. And we went back to that theme tree feature, looking at all the key themes coming out of that question. Why was this shoe design your favorite, and what would you improve about the design? Now, one of the aspects and benefits of being able to run both quant and qual data in the same data set is the ability to cut the qual by the quant and the quant by the qual. So in this case, what we did is we cut all of the qual themes by people that responded that concept number 8 was their favorite. From there, we were able to see the themes through that lens of people that mentioned concept number 8 was their favorite concept of all the concepts we tested. And then, very similar to the previous project, we dove into some of those sub-themes. We started off by looking at some of the themes around the design, especially the colors shown in the design. One of the key insights we found was that the reason concept number 8 was more popular was around the neutral colors of concept number 8. It was really easy to mix and match with different outfits and different styles. We went back to the theme tree and looked at some of the other key themes here as well, like comfort level and fitting. Again, we see a very familiar theme here, support for ankle or ankle support, and we dove into that a little bit deeper. And as you can see, the design of Concept 8 seemed like it had a lot of, or offered a lot of ankle support, which was really important to people, especially when they think about it through the lens of playing basketball or athletics. So from there, we were able to understand a little bit more about why Theme 8 or Concept 8 was so exciting for consumers. But we also had a ton of follow-up questions around what people disliked about Concept 8, as well as a lot of other follow-ups around different concepts that we tested as well. And so that's where we used Ada, which is our AI-driven chatbot. And through Ada, we were able to really quickly get these pointed questions answered about these different concepts. So for example, we asked Ada, what were respondents' least favorite things about concept number 8? And some of the things that really stood out here in these answers were things like it was a bit too futuristic. It resembled a sock. The design had a bit chunky of a back there. So this allowed us to get a more holistic picture of what consumers liked and disliked about the concept. So these are just some examples of how we were able to use the knit tool to really unlock the value of Qual-at-Scale. This was for a fun little internal project. Our partners use this again for all those different use cases we mentioned. Concept number 8, again, was the winner here. So if we do have any shoe brands out there, this is definitely the one to go with. A lot of excitement around this. But today there were a ton of different features that we didn't cover that didn't really fall into the workflow of Qual-at-Scale, but some that I definitely wanted to call out on today's webinar. Things like using our AI to actually generate some of these surveys. Using our AI to actually validate the respondent quality and making sure that you're talking to a real person. We have a ton of tools around AI for quantitative analysis as well, and also report generation. So again, if this is something you guys would like to dig into deeper, feel free to check out our website. We'd love to show you a demo of the platform, but we'll take the rest of the time here for Q&A and hopefully get you guys a couple extra minutes back on this Friday afternoon. So I'll turn it back over to you, Kara.
Awesome. Thanks so much for that. Yeah, we do have some time here for Q&A, so drop anything in that Q&A box if you have any questions. A couple here. Can you just explain some more about the contextual analysis and why it's different from how other tools are analyzing qual?
Yeah, absolutely. So our contextual analysis model takes into account 3 different intents, right? It takes into account the intent of this of the research and business objective. So that's something that people will feed into our platform when they run research. It takes into the intent of the question that was being asked, and then it looks at the underlying intent of what people are actually sharing in their responses. And because we're able to kind of triangulate all 3 of these, you can get really great results like the one we watched or the one we just saw here, where even if someone's not mentioning a keyword or a specific phrase that we're grouping these themes under, it's still able to pick that up because it has that holistic context, that kind of 360-degree understanding of what the consumer is saying and what the researcher is looking for.
Awesome, thank you. Question from Raymond here. Are the transcripts automatically generated and coded by the software from the videos?
Yeah, great question, Raymond. Yeah, so transcription is instant on our platform. So we have a transcription tool that's able to, as the videos are coming in, it's able to transcribe this. And then that's what we use for the analysis.
Perfect. Hope that answers the question, Raymond. Question here from Brian, and there's lots of acronyms here, so I'll apologize if I stumbled through. Do you have any experience within health insurance? How about dealing with HIPAA, PHI, PII data, servers in US SOC2, SQL breach tech?
Great question, Brian. Yeah, so we've done some work in healthcare, and we're happy to talk about the different levels of security that we have on the platform. So feel free to reach out to me, and I can connect you to kind of our data security team if you want to learn a little bit more.
Awesome. Can you customize the output from Ada? What do you want to dig into, or something that's deeper, or kind of tweak the outputs of AI?
Yeah, that's a great question. So just to take a step back, all the output of our AI, we think about how we build our AI in the sense that it will never be able to replace the kind of context and deep thinking that a human researcher can do. So we built this so that it is fully customized and fully transparent. So you can customize all of the different outputs coming out of Ada. We showed a couple screenshots of this and didn't have time to go through the entire platform here, but everything from the individual themes and where it's being coded, to how you're grouping those themes, to even what you're calling those themes, to finding additional themes that might have not been picked up in the first round. The goal here is to take out, 60, 70, 80% of that grunt work, so that our partners, the end users, the researchers can really do what they do best, which is bridge that gap between insight to actually driving action for their business.
Perfect. Thank you. Do we have to run our studies through NIT's panel, or can we use our own?
Yeah, so you can do it either way. You can tap into our existing panel, and you can also layer this on top of your own. So that could be like an internal consumer panel that you might have built out, a third-party panel that you might be using. So yeah, there's a bunch of different ways to get started on the platform.
Oh, thank you. Okay, so in regards to qual methodology, does NIT just work for async video, or can it handle IDIs, focus groups, etc.?
Yeah, another great question. At the moment, today, we are just focused on asynchronous video. However, we do have long form qual coming out on the platform. That'll be released in 2024, which will enable you to actually analyze things like focus groups, things like IDIs. And just to mention too, I don't think we covered it today, in addition to asynchronous qual, we can also analyze open-ended text. So that's another very popular use of the platform. So pretty much any shorter form qual today can be done on the platform.
Awesome. Sounds like some exciting stuff coming in 2024. Another question from Brian here. Can your tech API into CX platforms like Verint, EFM, etc.?
Yeah, great question, Brian. We do have the ability to integrate with a few, not the ones you mentioned, but happy to share some of the ones that we do over email.
Awesome. And then what are the benefits of kind of knitting together quant and qual? Pardon the pun.
Yeah, pun fully intended there. So that's kind of where the name came from. There's a couple core benefits there. One of which we covered today in the presentation. But the biggest thing is, if you think about it from a very high level, when we think about running research, historically qual has been done on one platform and separately. Quant has been done on a different platform and separately, and it's very hard to knit the two together. When you can knit the two together, you get kind of a more holistic understanding of the customer. So we showed a very kind of, I would say, a more basic use case of that today, where we were able to cut the qual teams by the quant teams. But the best way to think about it is you just get more of a 360 view of the customer. You can see what they shared up top in the quantitative analysis, and then you can compare that to the different themes that are coming out of their video responses. So it's just a more powerful understanding of the consumer. How that shows up for businesses, it can help you run research faster. Now, you might not have to run focus groups and IDIs and then a larger quant survey. You can kind of do best of both worlds in one survey. So that can save you time, that can save you money, or it can allow you to get a better understanding of your customers. So make better decisions and de-risk your decisions even more.
Perfect. Well, thanks so much. I believe I got through all of the questions in the chat box there, but there's a big book time with me button for all the attendees watching in your kind of session screen. So if you want to reach out and get more info, that's the way to do it. But thanks so much for your time, Aneesh, and thanks everyone for being here today, and have a great weekend.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone. Have a great weekend. Take care.
Bye.